It's a new year, and on New Year's Day, while most of us New Yorkers were chiseling the frozen vomit from our mouths, Mayor Bill de Blasio was being sworn in for a second term. So let's check in on how his city's doing.
The homicide rate in New York City has reached a record low. In 2017, there were 290 killings, the lowest amount since the city began keeping crime stats back in 1963.
While crime is up in many of the nation's cities, the rate here in New York has fallen to levels not seen since the 1950s.
That's right. Crime in New York is lower than Denver and Seattle, which is great news for people who don't want to be number one. Come on, murderers! Where's your hometown pride? You can't find people to kill in New York City. I met 5 people from the cab to the front door that I wanted to kill. So the good news is that crime is down in New York, but the bad news is that segregation is up.
A new study suggests there's a genetic divide between uptown rats and downtown rats.
The rats that live in uptown north of 59th Street are distinct from those living in downtown south of 14th Street. They tend to stick to those neighborhoods.
Well, of course downtown rats don't want to hang out with those snooty uptown rats eating their imported cheese and doing their rat soul cycle. But don't tell me uptown rats never go downtown. Where else do they get their weed? But even with 2 million rats, there's something even worse underground in New York City: the subway.
Endless days of delays for strap hangers as our subway system seems to be disintegrating.
Subway delays have surged nearly 300% in 5 years.
New York is the most frequently delayed subway system in the world. The only system that comes anywhere close in terms of delays is Mexico City, and even that is 71% on time versus 65% on time for New York.
Mexican trains are faster? Thank God! I may be late for my prostate exam here, but at least I'll be on time for my unlicensed scrotal rejuvenation there. I'm doing it for me, so I feel more self-confident. And New York could fix the subway, but like Anthony Weiner in a divorce settlement, you're gonna pay.
A new report finds MTA spends more money on subway construction than any other city in the world.
Cost between 4 and 10 times as much as a comparable subway would cost in comparable, well-developed, modern cities.
Paris built a subway line for $370 million per mile, while the MTA built the 2nd Avenue subway extension for $2.7 billion per mile.
Sacre bleu! New York subway construction costs nearly 10 times as much as Paris, a city where people spend $12 per macaron. They're just fancy French Oreos. So why do New York subways cost so much? Well, you're gonna love this.
The MTA now projects the East Side Access Project will cost $10.2 billion, about $6 billion more than the original budget.
The problem is most of the cash is going to the labor costs.
900 people were being paid to dig tunnels for that project. They found that only 700 of those people had actual job descriptions and jobs. The other 200 people apparently had no reason to be there.
200 New Yorkers hanging out with nothing better to do. Also known as a pretty good Brooklyn Nets crowd. You know what's worse than 200 subway workers getting paid to do literally nothing? The fact that I'm not one of them. Who's got 2 thumbs and likes to sit around with them shoved up his ass? This guy! Look, I don't know why I have to fix everything in this city myself, but if your problems are the subways that don't run and rats the size of giant dogs, why not put the rats to work doing the jobs the subways don't?
Louis Black, everyone. We'll be right back.